What's going on, everybody? Nick Costa here, and today we are going to be doing an unboxing video on the Soundbrenner Core Musician's Wearable. If you're unfamiliar with Soundbrenner, they are one of the first companies to make a wearable that's a vibrating metronome for musicians. Their Soundbrenner Pulse was one that I loved using and recommended for all of my students because it helps a musician feel a beat rather than hear it. So they took that concept and went one step further with it and made it into a smart wearable. So after contributing to their Kickstarter campaign, I got myself the Core Steel. This is the steel version of the Core. And again, this wearable is a vibrating metronome. It is a decibel reader. It is also a tuner, and it's a smart wearable as well. So you can get notifications from your smartphone. So enough of me talking about it. Let's actually open up this box and dive into it. Okay, so let's unbox the Core Steel and see what's inside of it. So we are going to slide that up. So it looks like there's a little tab here that you just lift up and open. Now, if you donated to the Kickstarter campaign, they gave you a couple extras as well. So you have a carrying pouch here. You also got a free silicone strap as well. You'll also notice that underneath the instructions, you have a bunch of other things as well. You have a woven strap. You have a longer one so you can turn it into a chest piece so you can actually wear it across your chest rather than just your wrist or your ankle. You'll also see that you have a USB cable to charge your Soundbrenner, as well as a magnet for if you want to tune it. You'll place this on your instrument, and then that allows you to connect your Soundbrenner to it and use it as a tuner. What's also really cool is they were generous enough to provide you with a pair of earplugs as well. So if you do have the notification for the decibel reader on, you'll know when to put them on. Now, since I donated and got the Core Steel, I got a leather strap as well. This is actually the strap that I wear when I put this on every day. And then, of course, you have the actual core itself. So the first thing that you'll want to do is it does show you to visit soundbrenner.com/start. You actually download a free app to your iOS or Android device. I recommend downloading the app regardless of if you have a Core or a Soundbrenner Pulse because it is a free metronome app and it gives you a lot of great options on subdivisions, time signatures, and all of that kind of stuff as well. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to take our core, and you'll notice on the back it actually has some magnets and some indentations. And what we're going to do is we are just going to place it on our strap. And that's it. It's all set to go. So now what we'll do is we'll press the larger button out of the two. Okay, so now you can see with your core, it does tell you to visit soundbrenner.com/start, which really they're just telling you download that Android or iOS app to your phone so you can go through the setup process. Since I am an iOS user, I will be going through step by step how to set this up using your Apple iPhone. So let's get started. I wanted to switch over to the GoPro because I am actually going to show you how to set up your Soundbrenner using your iOS device, but I also wanted to record my screen on my phone so it makes it a little bit easier to see. So the first thing you do once you download the Soundbrenner app is you open it. Again, I highly recommend downloading this app anyway because it is a free metronome app and has a ton of great options. So once it's open, you go into settings, and then you'll notice that there is a add a Soundbrenner wearable option. We are going to tap on that. Okay, so we are just going to, you'll see the core comes up. We're just going to tap there and it should connect. You will see that it says connected on the core itself. You are going to select pair for Bluetooth pairing. It's also asking if I want to display my iPhone notifications, which I do, so I'm going to hit allow. So once you go through all of that, you will see that your core is now connected to your phone and through the app. You'll notice here that you have some different settings that you can scroll through. So if you go to General, you can rename yours, which I named my name, so it's Nick Costa's Core. You'll see it asks what your wrist placement is. I wear mine on my left wrist, so I selected left. I have the option raise to wake, which is pretty cool because when you pick up the core, it automatically displays the time and your battery percentage. And then of course you have a factory settings, so you can reset your core back to factory settings like I did to show you the setup process. So let's go back. You'll also see that you have your metronome options, which is pretty cool. So you can have the vibrations on, which is what I always use. I think it's pretty cool to actually feel the pulse rather than hear it. And it gives you those different options. So you'll notice that when you are in the app, you have 3 different settings for each beat. And when you have that selected, you then can choose what vibration setting it is. So on the weakest, lowest setting, it's at regular. For the middle, it's on strong. And for the top, it's powerful. You can see that as I select the different options, the wearable is actually vibrating. You can also select if you want it to be a little bit weaker. You can change those as well. Also, lights. So you can have different colors selected depending on which beat iteration that you have and the intensity of it. So I have it just set as the defaults. So lowest setting is that teal color, middle is yellow, and the highest is red. You can change these to any color you want by selecting the option and then going through the colors that they give you to select. If you want, you can have them all be the same, and you'll notice that your core identifies whatever color you select. Same thing here. And then finally for the strongest one. Now you'll also notice that the Soundbrenner Core is a smartwatch. They are in the process of allowing your phone notifications to get pushed to the wearable. This is actually the one feature that sold me on getting this product, because not only is this a metronome and a tuner, for an educator like myself, this is definitely something that I always have on me while I am teaching, but it also allows me to not have to pull my phone out for notifications. I can just look at the device itself. They are in the process of getting all of that sorted out, and they said that it will be able to send push notifications to the core by the end of Q1 of this year, 2020. So for right now, if you go into smartwatch settings, the only option that you have is whether or not you want 24-hour clock notation. If you don't, it gives you your regular AM and PM times. If you select it, it then goes into 24-hour time. Last thing is the decibel meter. This is my favorite because since I am a drum instructor and I teach drum lines, multiple kids on drum sets at once, I'm always making sure that we are protecting our hearing and know when we have to start doing so. So with the decibel reader, you can actually have a volume alarm. So when it hits a certain point, your Soundbrenner will actually notify you that you should start protecting your hearing. That's when you can start to use the earplugs that they gave you if you do not have a pair of custom molded earplugs or your favorite pair of earplugs that you already carry around with you. Of course, if you don't want that, you can just keep that off and you're good to go. One final thing with the app itself, if you go into the player, really neat thing is that you can control your metronome through the app. You do not have to use the core. So right now we have the metronome set at quarter note equals to 150 and 4/4 time. Just like any metronome, you have a wheel here that you can turn from left to right. So we're going to keep it at 150. You can change your subdivisions. We're going to keep it at a quarter note, however, and you can also change your time signature, which we are going to keep in 4/4 time. You can also notice at the top here, from left to right, you have your different subdivisions for that quarter note pulse. As of right now, I have the intensity a little bit higher for beat 1, so it identifies what is beat 1 compared to the rest. Now, if I hit play, you'll see that the core is actually vibrating in time. And it is color coordinated with the colors I selected. Now, if you want, you can change it. So if I bring it down to, let's say, 123, you'll see that it's now at that 123 tempo. Turn silent mode off if you want to actually hear something as well as feel the vibration. As long as you have the volume on with your device, when you start to play, you'll hear it come out of your device, out of your phone that is, as well as you have that vibrating pulse coming out of the core itself. You will not hear that right now because I do have a microphone connected to the phone, which unfortunately disables the speaker that's built into it. Okay, now that our core is set up, let's go through all the different features that it does offer without using the app on your phone. So first thing, if I raise the wake, you'll see that it does display the time and the battery percentage there. So on the one side of the core, you'll notice you have two buttons, a smaller one up top and a larger one on the bottom. So on the other side, you'll see a magnetic connection. That's what you connect your USB charging cable to charge your core. So first thing that we'll want to do is we'll hit that larger button of the two, and you'll see that if you actually scroll, you have all of your different options. So it starts with the metronome, goes to your tuner, your decibel reader, your timer, a stopwatch, and then of course your settings. So first thing is metronome. If we hit that larger button again, we then go into our metronome settings. Just like we were doing with the app itself, it is set to what that last setting was. So we have quarter note equal to 123 in 4/4 time. You'll also notice that it does have that intensity higher for beat number 1. Now, if you want to change some of this stuff, I'll tap in the middle again. You'll hit that larger button on the bottom and it starts to flash whatever you are going to change by turning the dial to the left or the right, clockwise, counterclockwise. If you turn it clockwise, it turns it up, counterclockwise, down. So let's say we want to set it to 140. Hit that larger button again, it then moves over to your time signature. So the top one, if we want to make it 6/4, 3/4, anything like that. So let's say we want to change it to 3/4. And then of course, if we wanted to change it to another subdivision, 3/8, 3/2, 3/1. Looks like 3/8 is the highest setting for your subdivision time signatures. I don't really know if anyone should be practicing in anything higher than 8 subdivisions, like, I don't know, 11/16, all those weird drummer time signatures you like to show off with. So anyway, let's say we keep it in 3/4. And then of course you have your pulse. So if you want quarter note, eighth notes, anything. So we're going to keep it quarter note equals 3/4. Hit that button again, you then go to each subdivision setting. So you can change it to be all the same, all different. So let's say we want beat number 1 be super intense, and then we want beats 2 and 3 to be the same. Once we have all of that set, what you do from here is you actually tap the center twice very quickly, and it starts your metronome. To stop, you do the same thing, you tap it twice quickly. Now, let's say you wanted to do tap tempo, and you have a tempo, you have a band playing, you want to see what it is, or maybe you have a song playing, you're trying to figure out the tempo of the song. When you're in your metronome app, you just tap the beat, and you'll see that what I just tapped is 87.3. And you'll see after you tap it a couple times, it gives you your tempo, and you're set to go. Now, to get out of the metronome, you hit the smaller button of the two, brings you back to that main menu. Now let's scroll over to the side and go to tuner. Hit that larger button again. You'll notice that right now it's set as a chromatic tuner. So the cool thing with this tuner option is if you don't want to use this magnet and stick it to, let's say you're a guitar player, bass player, if you don't want this permanently on the instrument, I have tested it out, and you can take the core off and just place it on your instrument you're trying to tune, and it'll be able to read the instrument, and you'll be able to tune it that way. Otherwise, you can use that magnet, you connect your core to it, and then that allows you to tune that instrument. We'll hit that smaller button again, go clockwise, decibel reader. Hit the large button again. You'll notice that it does give you your decibel readings as soon as it's turned on. It'll show you how much time has lapsed. It'll give you the average decibel reading as well as the maximum. So right now in this room with nothing going on except for a heater rattling from time to time and my voice, you'll see that it's around somewhere between 80, 85 decibels or so. You'll see the average is 83, maximum is 91, and then of course you hit that back arrow. So now if you do not have that decibel alarm on, you can always go to your decibel readings, and when this is activated, that's when it's reading decibel. Of course, if you have the alarm on, you do not need to have this on. You can just have the wearable on, and all of a sudden it will start vibrating, and when you look at it, it'll tell you protect your hearing and have a little warning notification. So we'll go one more, timer. Timers are self-explanatory. Just like with the metronome, you hit the larger button of the two, and when it's flashing, turn clockwise or counterclockwise to change that specific field. So in this case, if I want to make this really quick for us, we'll make a 5-second timer. Once you get through hours, minutes, and seconds, just like the metronome, you tap twice quickly, and it starts your countdown. You'll see timer done. It's actually vibrating to let you know that your timer is done. Then you hit the small button of the two to back out. Last but not least, you have your stopwatch. Again, hit the larger button. This is great for if you are sight reading, you're giving music to your students, anything like that. You can say, hey, I'm gonna give you about 1 minute or so starting now. So all you have to do is tap twice and it starts. Again, to stop it, you tap it twice again. So now, once you do that, if you want to reset your timer, all you have to do is hit the larger button and you turn the wheel clockwise and it resets it. Hit that small button again. Last but not least, we have our settings. So if we go into settings here, you'll see step number 1 is airplane mode. There's no need to have that unless you're on a plane. Bluetooth, since I am connected to my phone at the moment, it'll show that I am connected. You can wipe the device to go back to your factory settings. You have that FCC ID, which is required by law. The serial number of your device, and then last but not least, firmware. So for those of you who are waiting for those push notifications for your iOS device like I am, that is something to check, and as long as you are subscribed to the Soundbrenner email chain, they will let you know when that update is available. You can check, make sure that you have that firmware installed. If not, then you just download that update and you'll be set to go. So that is it. That is the run through of your settings and all different features of your Soundbrenner core. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure that you give it a big thumbs up. And while you're here, you might as well hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification on the channel so you're automatically entered into a contest where you can win some free gear or even a Skype lesson from me. Also, make sure that you leave a comment below with your favorite feature of the Soundbrenner core. I would love to hear what it is. Until next time, see you later.